Yeah.
Greetings.
We don't have to go there. Yeah.
Welcome to Wonder Night, my friends. I am so excited to get to show you, introduce you to someone that I've recently met. I got the chance to meet you at UltraCon, and I am so grateful for this. My friends, this is a demonologist, a parapsychologist, and a world-famous paranormal investigator, Dr. Bill Slevin. Please introduce yourself.
How you doing? Thank you for having me on. I've been in the field for a long time, 36 years.
Oh,
and
36 years.
Yeah, 36 years. I've been part of well over 1,000 residential cases in people's homes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, and 7 confirmed demonic cases.
Okay. The questions abound. All right. No,
Yes.
I'm tripping over myself trying to figure out what questions to ask first. We've already been talking before this.
Right.
We're at UltraCon, and the questions keep on coming through. So let's just start with the fact I would love everyone else to know.
Yeah.
How and what did you get your PhD in, Mr. Dr. Bill Slevin?
My PhD,
you're darn right.
My PhD is parapsychology and metaphysical humanistic science.
Where do we start there? Okay, yes, just yes.
Just yes.
Okay, well, so if I could get an elevator speech on what that assists, and no, I might just tell him to Google that. We'll talk later on that. All right, we're going to get into the paranormal today as we get more and more into why you do what you do, what got you into this, and what influences not only got you into doing what you're doing, but what type of influence you want to leave on those around you. Right. So as we get into trying to learn just more and more of this paranormal aspect of your life, I have to ask, what is inspiring you right now in continuing with this?
Well, education is one of the biggest things right now because there's so much misinformation out there on TV, on the internet, and because there are 2 sides to the paranormal. There's paranormal entertainment and there's paranormal. And even though I've been featured on a few shows and I love the TV shows and everything, they're very different. And a lot of people are only learning from the TV shows now. So they don't know the other sides of what you can encounter that is not paranormal.
Okay.
So one of the things I like to do is help educate people who want to get into this, to teach them what is real and what is not.
Okay.
And also on the other side of it, clients that we deal with, we're trying to educate them also what is real and what is not.
Oh, I can imagine that is a very necessary aspect of what you're doing in this field. There are plenty of people who, whether it be through nature or nurture, are going to have very different understandings of what the paranormal world looks like to them. And whether it be old pipes in their attic creaking, or just it's a door they've never, ever just used some WD-40 on, or it actually is their grandma trying to talk to them. It matters on trying to figure out what is this energy that they're actually feeling, hearing, thinking of, or resonating with. And I think it matters that you are someone who is, frankly, bringing education to that field.
Yes.
So how did education in this field become your muse?
Well, again, dealing with so many people over the years. And, when I learned back in the 80s, it was very hard. It was very different. There was no internet. There was no TV shows teaching you this stuff. You had to go to libraries. You had to open books from people like Ed and Lorraine Warren, Hans Holzer, these people that was the only bit that you can find out there. We had to learn in a different way. Now it's being thrown all over the place. And because of the misinformation, people are learning the wrong way. And it kind of pushed me to go out there and teach them because we want to help further this field. We want real evidence. We want scientific data for it. If you're learning off the TV shows and not opening your mind to other aspects and natural causes and things, it's never going to further the field. Okay. Everybody's just going to be a YouTube star who is trying to get likes instead of trying to find answers. And that's the main difference.
Now, let me ask this in a way that I guess more so gets around to the point instead of just going, oh my God, what was the scariest encounter? Unnecessary. What does evidence look like? What does actual evidence look like?
Very hard and very rare. So real evidence, there is no way to produce real evidence. So when we encounter something, whether it be on audio, video, one of our devices going off, the first thing we want to do is debunk it. We want to find the natural causes for it.
Yep.
Because if we can prove it naturally, so I always say, what is paranormal? It's the unexplained. So if we can explain it naturally, it cannot be paranormal. So we look for that first.
Yep.
Once we get to a point where we say we cannot naturally explain this or scientifically explain this, then we move to that side and try to figure out what it could be. So for me, audio is the best evidence because capturing something on video is very hard. It's very hard. The devices, like I said, some of them are flawed. They can go off for natural causes. So, to say, okay, the light went off and it beeped and, it's definitely a ghost. You can't say that. But when you take an audio recorder, like we use these old digital audio recorders, if you ask a question and say, is anybody here? And then you stay silent for 10 seconds, you stop it and you play it back and you get a direct, clear response. It's very hard to discredit that because you're in a controlled environment. You know who's with you. You know who's around you. You know what's going on. So it has to be a very controlled environment for us to believe it. And also, you'll get a lot of staticky noise. And if I heard a bunch of static and you heard nothing, and I told you, it said get out, your brain is now going to hear get out. So only if we can hear it crystal clear do we consider it for us evidence.
I have to, because as someone whose professional skills in ghost hunting stem from my countless hours questing in the game Phasmophobia, I have to then ask at least about some of the different tools used to find this evidence. Of course, in the game, they have the EMF reader, they have the periscopic microphones, they have the smudges. Spirit boxes? What type of tools do you actually go out there and use? I don't want to just base it off of the knowledge I get from playing a video game. I genuinely want to know, what type of tools do you use, or do you have and build faith in using?
So the bad part is, during the day, I'm an IT director for 33 years. So I'm in the technology field for 33 years. So I'm in the technology field for 33 years, an IT director. So I use a lot of equipment, and being in both of these fields, you get a ridiculous amount of equipment. I have cases and cases and cases of equipment, but in a person's home, we use about 5% of that. When we go out on public investigations, we use everything.
Of course.
Because we want to test it. We want to see what it does. We want to learn about it. It's one of the things I tell people when we educate them. If you buy a piece of equipment, learn how the equipment works. Yeah. Just don't put it on and say it beeped and it's a ghost. Learn how it works. So for me, going into a person's home, we use audio, video, and more environmental stuff.
Okay.
Like to do temperature changes, humidity changes, vibrations, things like that. Now with Phasmophobia, you have devices in there that we do use. A spirit box is a very good device. A lot of people don't like it because they say the voices you hear are actually coming from the radio stations. And
I have heard that as well, that sometimes it really is just picking up the leftover waves.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the actual voices you can actually hear, depending on if you're on FM or AM, you'll actually hear voices from the stations. And then also, if I sit there and I hold that recorder, the spirit box, and I say to you, okay, did you live here or did you work here? Your mind is now trained to listen to live or work.
Okay.
So what we do is they created a method called the Estes method, where you put a blindfold on and you put headphones and you plug them into the spirit box. So now the person with the spirit box cannot hear or see you. All they do is they yell out anything they hear. They're not influenced by our questions.
So they don't even know what you're asking.
They don't even know.
Really true. Okay.
So when you say a question, what was your name? And they yell out, Mark, they have no idea why they're yelling out that name. And then when they watch the video back, they're quite impressed. And then there's friends of mine from a team I work with called War Party Paranormal. They created a thing called the Delco goggles. So instead of the blindfold, you put these goggles on and they use red light deprivation into your eyes to enhance your psychic abilities. So it's the same thing. It's just a boost.
All right. I am intrigued. Okay. The Oh my God. Because I don't even consider the development of technology in this field and like who's actually working to create new methods of paranormal research and new methods of detecting these energies.
I'll tell you.
Please. Please.
So there's a lot of people out there that are, but like one group that I always talk about, they sell a lot of equipment online. They're called Ghost Stop, ghoststop.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Sean is amazing because the thing is they're investigators. So they take the stuff we work with and make it better. And it could be simple things like a normal spirit box. You have, AAA batteries in it. The speaker's really low. You usually have to plug a speaker into it, and they work a little off. His has a rechargeable battery. It has a loudspeaker, and it has a SD card so you can record it. So they enhance things. Right, they come up with their own stuff too, but they enhance things we work with, which just helps.
That is awesome. That's cool. I love seeing. It's nice knowing and seeing how much development there is in it. Yeah. Again, exactly how you're saying. A lot of people are only learning it off of video games, learning it off of TV, learning it off of these, kind of exaggerated forms of it, and it's really not fair, frankly, to the amount of work that's going into it. And go ahead.
I'll tell you exactly with the K2, the EMF meters.
Yeah.
This is probably the most known device out there in paranormal investigation, ghost hunting, phasmophobia. Yeah. Everybody knows the EMF meter. And the thing is, a lot of people use it to ask questions. You ask a yes or no question, and it goes up, it spikes, and they think it's a question. It could be. Because we believe that spirits communicate through electromagnetic fields. So it could be. But when we use it different. When we go into a person's home, we use not K2 meters like that. We use digital meters that are actual field meters that the electricians use. Oh. And we use it so we can see the levels, because if we go in this room and your Wi-Fi is putting out massive levels of EMF energy, EMF energy can actually make you hallucinate. It can make you nauseous. It can make you, hear things. There's a lot of things to it. So we look for baseline readings around the house to know where energy is coming from, and then listen to what the families are saying, where things are happening, to see if we can match it up a little different in a house.
I'm very, very intrigued, and then now asking, do you believe that the perforation of radio waves and just waves from our phones, from Wi-Fi throughout all of our society, do you think that is either increasing like false flag paranormal accounts, or do you think that is actually increasing how many paranormal accounts are actually happening?
It's a tricky one because there's so much we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I'm brought in as like a celebrity investigator for a ghost hunt down in Davie, Florida. And, we were there Friday night, and I was teaching people. We had a REM pod. Do you know what a REM pod is?
Please teach me.
Okay. A REM pod is a little round device that has an antenna and a bunch of lights.
Okay.
It creates an electromagnetic field around the device. So you tell the spirits to go toward it, and if they break the field, the lights go off. Now, if you bang on the floor really hard, it could go off. It could be a little sensitive. But you physically usually have to break the field. See, we learned something. And it was funny because I was teaching them about this, and I didn't realize. We learned that if you click, and I can't explain this even as a tech.
Yeah.
If you click the talk button on a walkie-talkie, sets the REM pod off. Now, I was explaining that to the whole group that was on the ghost tour. Yeah. And then the lady one of the people running the ghost tour had a walkie-talkie, and I grabbed it, and I said, let's try.
Yeah,
and I clicked the button, and 4 devices started going off, because they're all similar to REM pods. So I'm thinking that when you click the button, it is sending some kind of radio wave out that is breaking the path of the other devices. So it's breaking the actual barrier where they are. But see, so it's things like that. So that's why we talk about things which show you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. That's why I say learn the devices, because somebody could be clicking that walkie-talkie and you wouldn't even realize, and everything's going crazy, and you think there's ghosts everywhere.
You're just trying to tell people back in the van something's happening, but right. Causing it. Oh my God! All right, wow. I'll ask more about that later.
Yeah.
So, what's got you into? What made this a purpose of yours? What built this as a personal purpose where you would get into 30 years of understanding this, learning about this? And again, it's not like this was the only thing you were doing. You literally just explained you're in IT as well.
Right.
So technology, information technology, I would imagine was a huge influence into it, or at least supplemented how you.
Not when I started, because when I first started learning about the paranormal, I was probably 10. Because I was always into horror. I was always into scary things, and it made me have questions.
Okay.
And back then, like I said, you didn't have TV shows, you didn't have all this stuff. So I would read books.
You had to find them.
Yeah. I when I say 36 years in the field, is because that's the first, 1989 was the first year I actually had an investigation. So I was learning before that on my own. But so I'm an empath. I don't have psychic abilities. I can't see them, but I can feel energy and emotions of the living and the dead.
Yeah.
So back when I was 10, I don't know what an empath is. I grew up in a Roman Catholic household. I don't know. I couldn't talk to them about that. But I can tell you I had weird experiences where I would go into even a family party, and all of a sudden I become depressed. And I didn't realize I was picking up on somebody else's depression. It wasn't mine. But you don't know anything about that back then.
It's just what you're going to connect to, isn't it?
So those things led me to what I believe my calling is helping people. That's why I went in this, is to help people. That's how I started. I mean, I was curious and I had my own answers. I wanted to help myself too. I had my own questions and my own things, my own answers I was looking for. But my calling, I fully believe, was to help people. And after my first case, which was a very scary case and a rare demonic case, out of pure luck, it's what kind of drove me into the field. There's a lot of questions there.
Dive down that a little bit, guys. So, okay. Why and how is a demonic case different from a ghost case? Or are they similar, but a demonic case is just a mildly angrier ghost?
Well,
sorry, go ahead. I'm curious.
The first part is it kind of depends on your religion and your faith.
Okay.
It does, because my studies in demonology is in Catholic demonology. Every faith has something different. Catholics believe in, and Christians believe in demons. Jewish faith believes in divics. Muslim faith believes in jinns. There's so many different things out there, but they're all the same, really. They really are. So what I believe is a ghost is somebody who was an actual earth-born person who died and has not crossed over yet. Whether they're stuck here, whether they have unfinished business, they're scared, they don't understand they're dead, something. A spirit, we believe, is somebody who has died and crossed over and is coming back for a visit. And a demon, in my faith, is a fallen angel who works in a legion for Satan. So that's what they are. So when you go into a house, if you have a haunting, like that could be what we call residual haunting or intelligent haunting, or even, anything like that, they're not there to harm you, and they don't have the ability to really harm you. They could knock something off the counter. They can maybe touch you, or maybe even give you a little scratch, or they're not trying to harm you. They can't really do any kind of harm to you. A demon only has two things. It wants to harm you or have you harm somebody else. That's all it's there for. And a demon has to be summoned in. That's what we believe. Okay. You're not going to just go into a house and there happens to be a demon in there. If somebody summoned it, somebody summoned it in, maybe, that's why I say a lot of these places that are known haunted locations, very rare you're going to encounter anything demonic, because somebody would have had to call it in there. Ouija board seances, a cult, some way to bring it in from the beginning. They're very different things on the way you test them and deal with them. That's why, as a demonologist, I'm called in by other teams and even some churches that will bring me in to help assess if a case could be something demonic. And it's very different.
Wow. Okay.
They are very, very rare. I will say that. It's very rare. Over 1,000 cases. I've had 7 confirmed. They are rare, and I will tell you, I'm glad they're rare. I don't like doing them. I do it to help people, but they are the most frightening things you'll ever experience in your life.
Yeah, I'm not a person who's going to go, I don't think, no, I am looking forward to not ever encountering
It's not for everybody.
And I have no desire to.
I could tell you this. Of all the 7 cases I was on, the teams that called me in, every one of those teams never did this work again. They all quit because they saw the dangers. Because with demonic, it could not, like a spirit or a ghost, it can attach to you. It could throw negative energy on you and make you a little messed up, like they call an attachment. But a demon can actually go through you and attack your family.
Try and attack you,
They could go to your family. They could go to people who aren't there. So it's a dangerous part of the field. Most people don't realize because they're not in their lifetime going to experience it, you know?
Yeah. So I guess going back to then when you were saying, you know, to educate others is definitely, and to help others is why you're doing this, and the purpose for this, inspiration for this. Now, what type of influence do you want to create with this as you are building this education, as you're building this help? What do you, and how do you showcase that influence? I'm not blind. I also definitely see this book is here. So how do you go about trying to build and showcase and I guess give that influence to the world?
So like I said, for the 36 years, I've been actually actively investigating. It's only been about the last maybe 7 or so years that I put myself out in the spotlight.
Okay.
It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about money, because my team is a nonprofit. We don't charge 1 cent to go in and help somebody and investigate.
Wow.
They can, if somebody donates to us, we will gladly take it. It goes into the team and it's only used for cases, but we do not charge anything because it's not ethical. We're not a pure science. So I started getting out there and I said, the reason I want to go out, I do conventions. I'm hired as a lecturer, to lecture in schools, libraries, conventions all over the country. And the reason I started doing that is to be able to educate people and to show them what the difference is. Because a lot of times in my lectures, people come up to me afterwards and they're amazed because I didn't just tell them all ghost stories. I was telling them things that nobody ever told them truth-wise, and I'm not trying to discourage people. I'm not trying to discredit people. I'm just trying to show what's real. And my book, Living Life Haunted, is my 36 years in the field. It took me about 3 years to put together because I kept changing it, because there's so much in my life that I said, what should I put in there? And I'm like, I don't want this book to be just a bunch of cases. I can tell you ghost stories all day, and they are in there, and some of the demonic ones are in there too. But I wanted to put a real personal aspect on it.
Exactly.
Like there are very personal things in there of what things you will not see on TV, what we deal with after a case. What happens when something follows us?
I was going to ask about that later on, if anything ever followed you guys or attacked.
I've had it. I've had it a bunch of times. Nothing very dangerous, but it makes you very sick. It gives you very bad luck. And it could cause a big problem for you for a while. But there's also very personal experiences in there. Things, funny cases, funny experiences, happy, because my main goal is to give that person or that family freedom back in their house and relief, because they're scared out of their minds. That little ghost in there that I know is not going to hurt anybody is terrifying this person and their kids and their whatever, So it's kind of why I did that, and it's why I've been out in the public. It also gives more recognition to my team as a very reliable professional team. My team is called the Paranormal Existence Research Society. We have people all throughout Florida, Georgia, Nebraska, New England, Indiana, UK, Italy, Greece, and Brazil. So we have people all over the world that are mainly, we go out and have fun on investigations, but we mostly are there to help people. And the greatest part with COVID, the only thing I could say positive about COVID to me was that it allowed us to now have to get our first interview on Zoom. And we started doing that. And the advantage I have is I have very gifted psychics that are not in Florida. So I can bring them on and they can see right through Zoom what's going on in the house. So it helps us right away know what's going on. So there's a lot of interesting things. And also, there's, I don't know if you've ever heard this. This will be for another thing. Robert the Doll. He is considered the most haunted doll in the world. He's stationed down in Key West. So the guy that takes care of Robert, he's called the Doll Tender. He's called the Doll Tender. He wrote the book.
Listen, it's a game, all right? There's different difficulties. Sorry, continue.
Yes, he's called the Doll Tender. He takes care of Robert. He's found all the history on Robert. He wrote the book. He does the tour. He wrote the foreword to my book. He's a good friend of mine. So I have an entire chapter talking about Robert and David and how he's influenced so many people. There's so many people that have been affected by Robert. So there's things like that. There's so many different things in this book. It's a very long journey.
Wow. I am looking forward to hearing a bit about that journey for sure. I want to I know we're going to have another podcast where we talk a bit about that.
Sure.
Talk more about that journey as well. I cherish that you come from a lot of this with the aspect of helping others and educating others. That's something we love to do and we love to really focus on here at the company also. And so I definitely respect that that's an influence you're trying to bring with this.
Right.
I then want to know, what are some of the next goals you're going to have? And in continuing to build that influence, continuing to work on educating others, helping others, getting out there, maybe doing more cases or not, or if there's any big cases you have planned, what are some of the next big goals you have?
Well, I mean, our main focus always is helping people. And we do get a lot of cases. So if I can expand a little more so we can help more people, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also, right now, I'm part of the Warren Society for Paranormal Research and Education. I used to be I get them confused. I used to be part of the Warren Legacy Foundation for 3 years.
Oh.
And those are carrying on the legacy of Ed and Lorraine Warren from The Conjuring.
Yeah, from The Conjuring, right? Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay. So I work with them, with people that worked with them or family members. So we also use that to help carry on their legacy.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I do want to always carry on their legacy. There's a lot of people that don't like them. There's a lot of people that thought they were fake. It doesn't matter what they all think.
Mm-hmm.
I know what is real and what's not, but also it doesn't matter because they are the reason most of us are able to be sitting here speaking about this.
At all. Yeah.
So they were doing this forever. So I want to carry on their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
We want to continue the education. We want to teach people that want to come into this field that don't just try to have fun with it, but try to do some actual research. Because the more people that are doing research and not trying to get YouTube likes, they're gonna help further the field to where one day maybe we can say, I have actual proof. I wish I could say that, but I can't. I can tell you during one of my demonic cases, I was knocked 30 feet across the room by nothing. It was like 2 hands hit me in the chest and knocked me clear across the room. I don't need proof because it happened to me.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I don't expect anybody to believe that unless they were there to witness it or experience it.
No, I'm very okay happily taking your word for that. I have no desire in trying to battle that or just, no.
Yeah.
I understand, and you know what? I'm all right not having witnessed that.
Yes.
I'm so sorry that occurred.
I agree. Trust me. Because when you're on the floor, you're laying there going...
And you're wondering what happened.
Right, you're wondering what happened, and then you're going, what's next?
Yeah. Oh,
that's
my God.
Because you can't control it. There's nobody there to grab. There's nobody there to move away from. It just hit me.
It's there. Oh, my God. That's
the
terror. Oh,
yes,
my Lord. So now going into this, this is a question I also wanted to ask again. Someone who's just in the field. What is, I know it's a bit out of left field, I apologize, but going now a bit into the movies and literature side of things, 2 questions. One, how did you like The Conjuring? And do you think it was a fair representation of the work that you do and or people related to the work that you do?
Okay.
And then ask the second question after.
So those movies are based on true life cases. So there is some truth in the cases, but Hollywood is going to enhance it in the way they want. As a horror fanatic, I love the movies. I do. I love the movies.
Yeah.
For the story they told, I love the movies. If you're somebody that's so constantly dwelling on what was the real case, you might not like it. But I will tell you this: some of those cases, like the haunting in Connecticut, which was a Warren case, the haunting in Connecticut, actually. The true accounts that I heard from the people involved actually was more horrific than what was in the movie. So that's why I say Hollywood is going to twist it to what they feel is going to sell.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's making it scarier or less scary. That whatever they think the dynamic is going to be for that movie, that's how they're going to twist it. So I say enjoy the movies. If you like horror, the movies are great, but definitely take into account that everything you see is not real, but I could tell you some of what you see is real because I've experienced it.
Okay. All right. I then have to ask again, for just following kind of in the same vein of questions, is, well, when it comes to the entertainment and movies that you like to see? Do you prefer it to be more paranormal or more gore in the horror that you see?
Well, okay, I got two things to this. I was hoping you were going to ask something. I got some. I'll tell you. So you got to remember too, I grew up in the 80s. I grew up in low budget B horror films too. So I like all horror. Okay. My favorite is always going to be things like the original Halloween, the original Exorcist, those type of movies, which is one of the things I always say that's funny. People always ask me, what scared you? Movies, even when I was young, never scared me. The only movie that ever frightened me when I was young was The Exorcist. And I don't know how I transitioned from that movie scaring me to doing this.
Now you're into
I don't know.
it specifically.
But I will tell you, people sometimes ask, like, what's the most accurate? Is there a movie or a show or something that's most accurate? Watch the TV show Evil. Evil
so good. It's so
is
good.
The most accurate
really
thing that you will see. Because of course they enhance like the way the demons are, and they're kind of funny in a way, the demons, But you have a priest, you have a forensic psychologist, and you have a tech guy.
It's all of them.
It's what we do. So that show is exactly what we do. And if you watch the show, how many of the episodes were not a demon or an angel or something?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But they did have to deal with some of them. I don't know why they canceled that show. It's the most annoying thing, but that was the most realistic thing I've watched.
I loved how insidious and just on the cusp of belief a lot of the issues were. And I think that's what made it so terrifying and scary, is when you realize how very easy it is to a lot of day-to-day things that are just the day-to-day aspects of life. You want it to be something more horrible, something more insidious,
right?
But no, because a lot of times it's just the natural world we're living in until you do actually encounter something truly heinous, truly malicious. Then you realize, holy crap, there are things that go beyond what you even comprehend.
And the casting was perfect.
The casting was so good. Oh, my God.
The people in there, the nun, she was the greatest character on that show.
We're going to talk. We're talking about this afterwards. Okay, we're geeking out later on.
We could go on that show forever. But that, I tell people, from my opinion, that is the most realistic. I mean, the Conjuring movies are what we do too, and they're based on the real stories, but they're more enhanced than that show. That show is more realistic in what they do.
I love that aspect of it as well. I'm
so mad that they ended it.
It's okay.
I could have just kept going with that show.
I have to acknowledge how validating it is to hear from you. That show did a really good take on it.
Absolutely.
That is amazing to hear. So let me now get into some of the final stretch of the interview. And ask something that I love to ask all the different guests and just get their own genuine opinions on.
Sure.
What is a question you would love someone to ask you? What is a question you would love someone to ask you? It doesn't have to do with any of the things you do here. It doesn't have to. But, in the decades you've been doing this, in the years you've been doing this, in the years you've been learning, in the years you've been becoming a wiser person, and you've been able to accumulate experience, what is something if you had the world's ear, what is something you'd love to say?
That's a tough one. I'll be honest with you. That's a tough one, because for me, I like when the people come up to me and they want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about, is the truth. Because we'll go into a panel and I'll talk for an hour. At the libraries, we do sometimes 3 hours. And I will talk about a lot of education, and I will definitely hit on nerves with people of things that they didn't want to hear. But most of them will come up afterwards and they will have more questions on, why do you believe this is this? Or why do you say this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, to find out the truth, and not just what was the scariest thing, or did you ever encounter this? I like to be able to talk to them and teach them the truth, and also why we do it to help people, like what it is about helping people. And one thing, I'll bring this up because I didn't talk about this before, is that 70 to 80% of our cases are mental illness, addiction, fear, grief, trauma. They're not paranormal. And if you go into a home, and it's why I like the people that are, I love when the people that are trying to learn this come up and ask me questions.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand. If they just learn from TV, they don't understand. If you go into a person's home, and let's say they're hearing voices and they're seeing things and whatever, if you watch TV only, you're going to think it's got to be a ghost.
It's got to be.
But you're not going to, right. You're not going to know how to look for signs of somebody maybe schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you tell them it's a ghost or a demon and you cleanse the house with sage and like what we do, that doesn't do anything to a demon.
Then what happens?
And it doesn't do anything to an illness.
Mm-hmm.
So when you leave, they still hearing and seeing everything, and now they think it's going to kill them.
Yeah, no, it's even worse.
So it's one of those things where you got to be very careful, because if you don't know what you're doing, you could severely damage somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You could make that person go off the deep end, even hurt themselves, because now they're trapped there. They don't know. And, it's like when we go in, we don't just cleanse a home. We teach the family how to cleanse the home so that they can handle their own situations, because if they keep doing what they're doing, it may come back.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask then before we end, what are, if it's all right to ask, I'm unsure, but if you have maybe a first case or two or three, or what first case kind of solidified, oh, this is something I have to keep doing? Was there a first moment or an interaction or an adventure where you knew this was something, oh man, I got to keep up with this?
The first case. And I have talked about it a lot with people. I was learning this for years, trying to just research and stuff. A friend of a friend happened to have a team that needed a person because one of their people were sick. They were going to do an investigation. They knew I was into it, and they said, would you want to come? And I fully appreciate it, because I was brand new. I had never done an investigation. Yeah. And this was one of those things that I won't go into the whole story, but this is one, and it's in the book. This is one of the things that was a very rare thing. It turned out to be a rare demonic case where 10 minutes into the actual case, the guy next to me got full on attacked, scratches from his neck to his spine, down his whole back. So it was something that most people probably would have never, ever done again. But it took me down the rabbit hole, because I came out of there, don't get me wrong, frightened to all hell.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about demons. So to me, I was like, that's what a ghost does?
Yeah.
I was like, what am I getting into,
Yeah.
When I left there, I had more questions than anything. Like, why did it attack him? Why did it attack me? Right. Well, I didn't know anything about protection. I wasn't protected when I went in there. I was in there like, oh, this is fun, So, and then I saw the fear on everybody. I saw the fear on the client. I saw the fear on the investigators, and it made me want to help people. That's why I say I believe it was a calling, because to do what I do as far as the demonology side isn't just something you pick up every day, and for God, I've been studying demonology for probably 30 years. And I never used to say demonologist. I always used to say demonology specialist, because to me, a demonologist is a sacred title. It's either a clergy member, or if you're given the title by the clergy, like Ed Warren was a demonologist given to him by the church.
Yeah.
It was about 1.5 years ago or so. I was given the title by clergy. So that's why I use demonologist now. But it's just one of those things where I look at it as a calling, that side of it, because I don't know why else I would keep doing it. I really don't.
I understand. Yeah. Dr. Bill Slevin, I'm eternally grateful for you coming on and doing the podcast, and for just taking some time out to educate us on what you do, why you do it. And please, if you wouldn't mind holding your book up just so the camera can see it. Of course, people will be able to check you out, follow you. Living Life Haunted.
Yeah, I pray on Amazon.
I hope they have the chance to check it out, purchase a book themselves, and just learn a bit more about why you do what you do and why it's important to really be educated on the stuff that is happening.
They could also go to my website, which is just billslevin.com. And it has where I'm going to be all the time. I put everything on there, our Facebook, anything. I have everything up there where I'm going to be talking and all that.
Perfect. Exactly. I was literally just about to tell them, please go to the site, find out the locations you're going to be, learn about some of the events you're going to be talking at. Because again, as much as the paranormal side of things might be startling for people, I can't stress enough how important it is to be aware, to be knowledgeable on. Sometimes it's actually mental illness. Sometimes it is naturally explained. Sometimes it is a situation that you just need another opinion on, or need some research on, and it can help you a lot. Other times, you should be wary of what the heck it might be. You should
I want to
have
say
help.
one last thing to that. So if you're somebody that is interested in this and wants to like learn about this, learn first what you want to do with it. Because if you want to just be an enthusiast and have fun and go out and go ghost hunting and all that, that's fine. I encourage it. I don't discourage it. But stick to that. Go to public places. Stick to that. Don't go into a person's house unless you have experience in that in that type of thing, or you're with people who had experience.
Yeah.
Because if you just watching Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters or one of those shows and you go roaming into somebody's house, you're not going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if you do encounter something bad, you're not going to know what to do. You'll encounter that more in a house than you will in a outside public location. So
good point. Interesting. Good to think about. Bill, Dr. Bill Slevin, I'm immensely grateful for you being here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate having you here. This has been Wonder Night.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.